All right, I'll call the meeting of the International Falls Economic Development Authority to order. Roll call, all the commissioners are here, but Commissioner Wagner. First on our agenda, approval of minutes. First, the EDA meeting minutes of April 17th, 2023. Do I have a motion to accept?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? I'll ask a question.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Second, we have the minutes from the IFEDA special meeting minutes of June 5th, 2023. Do I have a motion to accept?
So moved.
I have a motion to accept. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? I'll ask the question.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Anybody in the audience have anything to bring today? No, not today. All right.
We were asked to attend the meeting just because there might be some help out there to be able to get recycling started again.
I think that would be up to the county, wouldn't it?
Yes, City Administrator.
I remember Commissioner Wagner commented on that.
Right.
I have not spoken with him in regards to what help or what financial assistance he was talking about. So and with him gone, I forgot he was going to be gone, so I don't have any additional information.
Okay, good, because I was really thinking it was me.
Yeah.
But I did speak with, Commissioner Wagner and I have had the discussion, and I know his biggest concern, like I even said in the last meeting, his biggest concern through all of this is trying to get recycling, curbside recycling back into the community. So I know that we've had discussions on how the city can help in that regards, but as for a plan, I don't think we're there yet. But I would be more than willing to make a motion to allow Commissioner Wagner to have conversations with friends on bringing recycling back into the community, to see if we can come up with something that makes sense between you and the council to bring to the EDA to try to do that, because that's one of the priorities we have.
All right, I have a motion.
Yeah, I got a motion.
We got one. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. Any more further discussion? I'll ask the question.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
So Tim gets for not being there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he made these people come. That's the least we can do to them.
Have them buy lunch too.
Yeah.
And if I may, I think I think Commissioner Wagner was also talking about other areas at the federal level that there was some funding available. So we need to get with him a little bit more and understand, and he can give me some information, and I can do some digging and looking, and I will, do what I can as well. But we will definitely figure out what items he was funding options that he was possibly talking about, because he's the one who did, he brought that up at the last meeting, so.
Yeah, I know he's, like you said, he's been interested in looking into it. I think part of it might have to do with the rescue plan, some of them dollars.
Well, I know when he was counselor-elect, and I talked to him and I said, so what's the number one thing that you want to get out of your term? And he goes, curbside recycling. So I know that this is a huge thing, and if he can find some funds and be able to work with you guys and be that liaison for the council or for the EDA, I think it makes a ton of sense, so.
Well, yeah.
I think he should be working with the county, because the county's kind of up to them or their responsibility, and that's where it goes too. So I think if I would think Matt would have a lot of information on something like this to start with. I mean, rather than having to dig for stuff, and tap him and find out what his thoughts are, you know.
I think we can do both.
They're going to have to run it in the long run, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because eventually it is going to involve them one way or another, no whether how we started or did.
Yeah.
And rather than trying to
part of
start
it.
and invent the wheel, we should maybe talk to him first and then see what else, or bring to him what we find out here that we think there might be possibilities of funding and see if it's being tapped or not, you know, so.
Yeah,
That's just
that's
my
what we
thoughts.
just put Tim in charge of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds, we might as well make a committee so we can make him the chairman of it too, seeing as he's not here. All right, good idea. Okay, then next, approve the accounts payable as presented. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, I'll ask the question.
Aye.
Aye.
Right.
Aye, motion carries. Next, June 2023 unaudited financials. Do I have a motion to accept?
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion to accept. Do I have a second?
A second.
Do I have a second? Any discussion?
I have a question. So I see that the Historical Society has paid their stuff in full. Is that correct? Okay,
That is correct. They paid it off early.
Nice. Good
wonderful.
for them.
Absolutely, well, no, that's great.
Yeah,
That was my only question.
All right. Ask the question.
aye.
Aye.
Right.
Aye, motion carries. Do we have any reports from anybody today?
I don't know if I have a report, but I think I might have something under new business, but I don't.
Well, where
I don't
do you-
wanna
where do you
report
want it?
I don't want to report it, so we'll go under new business.
All right. Sure it is an old business.
I'm positive it's not old business.
Do we have any other old business that anybody would like to discuss? New business.
I'll be B.
Okay, budget discussion. Do we have any, city administrator, do you have anything to add to the budget discussion?
Yeah, what you have in front of you is the historical, the budget worksheets. You can see 21, 22, 23 year-to-date actual, and then what 23's budget was. And this group here, historically, over the last few years, not having a lot of, things happening with our EDA, have just put in, under professional services, about $5,000 and off some, a few dollars for office expenses. I guess that both of them together total $5,000. However, you can see that our actual expenses for professional services greater than that, and that's due to the motions you've made for like the Green Tech project and others. And, the housing project, those are the two projects. And knowing there's, money in the funds that we could use. But, so this is just historically what on an annual basis, you may or may not want to think about what the goal and plan is for the EDA for the upcoming year for the budget.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, and yeah.
Would this be a good time to have a conversation about additional funding from the EDA for the 4th of July Commission?
We could do it now or in the budget process.
Or, I'm fine with doing it in the budget process, but just bringing it up that's,
Well, I'm glad you did bring it because I was thinking this would be a place where we could get some extra funding for the EDA.
And I have no issue with bringing it up, like, we're going to have to start meeting with the 4th of July Commission, we have a smaller group trying to figure out bands for the 4th of July, because the price, I mean, I made it, I said at the last committee of the whole meeting, we have $14,000 that's dedicated from the city for the 4th of July. All $14,000 goes towards the fireworks. So when we're looking at the entire process, the beer money this year came in lower than expected, and they did better than they did in the past, but all their supplies had went up. So when they split that, we actually made less this year than we did last year. Coincidentally, the bands aren't getting cheaper. The vendors in the park this year was right on pace for average of in the past, but after we did everything that happened this year, we ended up lower than what we had started this season with. So that's just one of the things, and I believe the 4th of July Committee is going to do additional solicitation, but I think that since it is in the city charter that we have a 4th of July celebration, it makes sense that the city finances the 4th of July celebration,
Well,
not just fireworks.
Go ahead, well,
When has that 14,000, when was the last time it was changed?
I don't know.
A couple of years ago, it was only 12, and we upped it to 14, probably 4 or 5 years ago. And on that note, if I may, other communities, their fire departments do fundraisers for the fireworks. So that's an option. They have a Friends of the Falls Fire nonprofit status, and so, we could ask them to do a raffle or do some type of fundraiser for the fireworks and, lessen that amount to them and keep some of that for the event itself. I mean, I know they're part of the event, but that's just an option as well, as long as you're talking about that as a whole.
And people like the fireworks. I mean, I'm sure you'll get some donations out of it, or sell tickets anyway. It wouldn't be hard to sell tickets.
When we say the 14,000, I guess this is a question that I don't know the answer to. Is the 14,000 for the 4th of July, it's just the 4th of July? Anything that's spent above and beyond that is paid for through other entities?
Correct. We have $2,000 for the icebox, no, is it the parade, the winter festival?
Yeah, Icebox Days.
Icebox Days, that's $2,000 worth of fireworks. That is separate, a separate payment from the 14.
Okay.
And then if other functions do and request fireworks, they've paid for them in the past.
Okay.
We've ordered them, but they have paid for them outside of that.
So that would be like the Christmas parade and the Arrowhead 135.
That is, well, I think I think they always keep a box of fireworks for the Arrowhead 135 out of the 4th of July stuff, which is minimal, smaller event. But if the Christmas parade wants something different, they have historically paid for those fireworks. We have ordered them, they've paid for them.
Okay.
but in the bigger picture here, this is just my opinion, I have no problem if we have the money to take some money for the overall celebration of 4th of July out of the EDA funds. I think that's what it's for, is promoting the business, and we couldn't have got any better advertising than we got this year about town. And seniors are bringing up, because we don't have the letters yet, as you know, I'm your appointee to the Hockey Day in Minnesota committee. And I would like, just for everybody, like with this, to think about what we as a city could do as being one of the sponsors. It's not our thing, but be a sponsor, either some cash and in-kind services. And I talked to Ted once, get a rough about what the in-kind would be and stuff, because the one thing, before we can even put in a bid, we have to have $100,000 committed from people. Not that I'm looking for 20,000, 100 or whatever from here, but just for something else to think about. But things like that, and more importantly, like the 4th of July, I think are things you can almost can't put a price tag on. Like the 4th of July, and if we have and it's interesting about the bands, and it depends if we want a free one, or do we want where we're charging, because I've already had somebody inquire to me about the amphitheater, and maybe.
Love that.
And maybe have something, but it'd be more on a per charging, but they charge for hairball down in, but that, I believe, but even it's something, you know what I'm saying? But I like the fact that, and it depends on what we're looking for, if we just want to have a free event for people, that's fine too, but I think these are all good uses
I do too.
of the money.
Yeah. No,
But that was what you were asking, kinda.
Yeah, I think myself and Lois Lundeen, Rob Pastor, and Betty are going to be sitting down to really hammer out what we do for music next year, and I have a couple of neat opportunities that came up. Again, another local tie with a band, and they're willing to do it cheaper than what this group was, but they are also not willing to headline because they don't feel comfortable being a headline band. But they could definitely do the amphitheater. They would definitely do maybe a Friday night if we were to have a Thursday, Friday or something. But any way you look at it, there's going to be monies that need to be expended. I've also reached out to both of the new hotels. By coincidence, I ended up running into the Bills here at City Hall, and I was speaking to them about the 4th of July and how full they were, and they said that they had 97% occupancy through the weekend, and if they would be willing to sponsor or co-sponsor some of the events. And they said, yeah, for what bang they're getting for their buck, it would be more than worth it. So just trying to have the conversations with the businesses that are really going to make out by having our community get full. I think that's a good conversation starter, but I think we need to find out how much the bands would be. I have now gotten 10 quotes from bands already for the 4th of July next year. One is kind of rising to the top. It's not the Dirty Vandals again. However, we did have a great conversation with him, and he is more than willing to come back. He wants to come back. Yeah. And when I mentioned the amphitheater as an opportunity, he really got excited about that too, because now he's done the band shell, he'd love to do the amphitheater. So I think this is a building thing. I mean, I don't even want to go any farther because I'll start to ramble.
Yeah, but that's fine. I was just going to, my only thing was, and we don't, nothing says we can have a band on the 4th of July weekend and one other time at the
Exactly.
amphitheater. I just say anything more we could, I don't know what else we can use the amphitheater, because it's just a nice piece of property we have sitting out there. That's a shame that it's waited this long to get used again.
I will say that after doing, we're way off subject, I don't even care.
Yeah, well, you know.
After doing the movies in the park this year, I really think that the amphitheater would be a better shot for the movies at the amphitheater along the river, be able to have some stuff go on over there. The park is great, but there is so much additional light because you are in town. And I think that would be a really good move over there. We're not saying we're committed to that, but that is something that we're definitely thinking about. So.
All right. Anything else to talk about?
We need to get back to the budget.
Oh, that wasn't that part of the budget?
It was, but it wasn't. So for next year, would you like to still put in, just a general $5,000, few dollars under office supplies, and, the rest under professional services? We know this is a a fund in its own. You guys can make motions throughout the year if need be to do things as we did with Green Tech, as we did with, drawing a blank. But, those are, you have those options. So we need to know and understand, because we only meet quarterly, if you don't meet again before we do,
Right.
Stuff August, September,
Right.
we need this number for budgeting purposes.
How about, would it be easier for you to budget if we just put a bigger number in there that, like we just or just leave? I'm fine with it the way it is, if that works fine for you guys in the office.
It's been working.
And we can move it around, or like you said, when we need to.
I think historically, going this route, putting the $42.75 under your professional services and $725 for a total of $5,000 as an annual budget for, basically it's a placeholder.
Yep.
And, you would have to make motions and approve anything outside of that.
Sure.
All right.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
So you should probably make
Make a
a motion
motion
for
for
that,
that,
yes,
yeah.
please.
I'll make a motion.
All right, we have a motion from Commissioner Holden to keep the budget amounts at the historical
Yeah.
amounts.
I'll second.
Got a second from Commissioner Droba.
You forgot my name.
Took me a little bit. Took me a little bit of, yeah. Well, not what I normally called you, but I said and it starts with the same first letter. So,
Here we go.
any question? Any more discussion?
You getting entertained yet?
Any more discussion? If not, I'll ask the question.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Did we get through everything you needed to know, Betty, without getting on? That was him, by the way.
It's all good discussion.
All right, if there's nothing else, anybody have anything?
Oh, I have one, and so this is just something that had came up, and as I was looking through what the legislature passed this last year, one of the things that they passed was an additional $25 million to making movies or series in Minnesota. It got me down a rabbit hole. I got stuck on it for 6-7 hours. I ended up finding out that there is, through deed, a department that just deals with movies and the film industry. Then you have to have a liaison on your part, and I reached out to a couple of people that I know in California on who their film liaisons would be and what that is. And basically, it is just a website that gives ideas and information on where film crews could stay in your area, which would be all of our hotels that are available, and what we have that would be open for the film industry to be able to utilize immediately. So if we had city parks, barns, our main street, areas that would be of some interest for a film crew to come in and film a movie in International Falls. So the legislature passed an additional $25 million in incentives. So I would be interested personally in trying to see if we could come up with a website and work with the film, hold on, I got it right here. The film, Minnesota Film TV. .org, which is a nonprofit organization in St. Paul that will cater whatever we have to the film industry. But just seeing if we can't get people to come to International Falls for that free advertisement. We had one movie filmed here. I've never seen it. I've heard it was horrible. I'm not trying to be mean. But I think that the average is $65,000 a day is spent in any given city during filming. So if we could get people to come and film movies in International Falls that can highlight what we have in the summer, because I think everyone knows what we are in the winter, but if we could highlight some of our wonderfulness in the summer, in the spring, in the fall, the hunting, the fishing, all of the seasons that we have in our community, and to be able to focus that through film or television, and it's minimal cost, like literally $200 a year for your website, and there may be additional cost when you go through the Minnesota film thing. I don't know, I haven't researched it that far, but I did find out that Duluth so far this last year, they had 3 movies filmed there, and the net gain for Duluth was $2.6 million. So I see it as a huge opportunity. That's all. And it advertises our community, so.
Well, and you get some other eyes on the community too, from people that don't have
Right.
any of these amenities we do.
Yeah.
And that helps an awful lot to get something. That's where the interest is going to come from, when these other eyes come in and they see what we have.
And that's a big.
Never
yeah.
been there.
Well, especially with like the website or whatever, because there's people here that, I mean, there's literally people that don't think we have running water, you know?
We got lead pipes yet.
They do.
Let-
I know a guy, his in-laws came, and his sister-in-law, when they first came here, they brought their own bottled water. They brought their own bottled water because they didn't think we had. And this ain't that long ago, maybe 10 years, 15 years.
What do you think, Betty?
I believe it, because people don't, yeah.
And for me,
Hilarious.
I know that the immediate draw for anyone that would want to make a movie in International Falls is going to be the winter, the outdoor, the ice fishing and stuff like that. And I understand that. I think my true goal would be to highlight what we're not known for, to try to get people to see what we just did on the 4th of July. I mean, when we do the Christmas parade at Thanksgiving, that's like a Hallmark movie in the park. I just think that we have opportunity here, and again, I'm not even asking for anything from the council right now. I'm just saying that I'm more than willing to look into it
Yeah.
and give a real presentation.
Yeah, go for it.
We could have like life below,
32.
yeah, no, 49, the parallel. We could just follow Mike around in Birchdale during the fall. He's our mountain man.
The name of that show would be I Remember When.
Yeah. No. Back in the day.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
There you go. I've said that a few times. Back in the day. There you go. Yeah, that's good. I like that.
I have nothing further.
Well, if there's nothing else, we're adjourned.
All right. Sounds good.